Welcome back to another episode of the Madras United podcast, where we bleed red for Manchester United. I'm your host Sanjay, joined as always by Desmond, my friend and co host. Now, if you're expecting our usual deep dive autopsy of every pass and tackle, buckle up. This one's different. We're dialing back the game by game grind and zooming out to the bigger picture: club drama, Premier League chaos, and those burning questions keeping us up at night. From the international break shakeups to the gritty Villa win and Bournemouth draw, VAR headaches, our keep or sell player verdicts, and who might tumble into the relegation abyss, we've got it all lined up. Desmond, kick us off with the internationals.
Hey Sanjay, hello everyone. Yeah, when you hear the international break, it's not as exciting for club football lovers during the other times, but I think this period is very important. Why? Because we've got the World Cup 2026 around the corner. This March 2026 international break just concluded. I think it's a monumental week for European football. While several giants played friendlies to kind of fine tune their squads, the primary focus was on the UEFA World Cup playoff finals, which determined the final European nations heading into the World Cup. So you had teams like Bosnia and Herzegovina, Sweden, Poland, Kosovo, Turkey, Czechia, Denmark playing for the final playoffs. And the surprise in that lot was definitely Italy. The news just broke out that it did not qualify for the World Cup. The Azzurri failing to qualify for a third time in a row since 2018. 2018, they miss out 2022 and then 2026. Now, a big disappointment for European football. You want to see, the four-time World Cup winners play in this big competition. You need the tough competition coming up. But unfortunately, they crash out on penalties to Bosnia and Herzegovina. The game ended in a 1-1 draw, but unfortunately, they went down 4-1 on penalties. Something is seriously wrong with the Italian national football. There's a lot of post-mortem to be done. I'm pretty sure they will be reflecting back on these three consecutive failures, and there's something huge that needs to happen within their national squad. I think it's to do with the management, the board, the players, everything all put together. It has to be changed completely. I think that's a different topic altogether, but one of the biggest upsets that we've seen so far. Sweden qualifying. Victor Gyökeres, who plays in Arsenal, has been in incredible form for his national team, if not for Arsenal at least. So Sweden made it through. We have Turkey qualifying against Kosovo with a 1-0 win. And then between Czechia, formerly Czech Republic, and Denmark, Czechia made it through. Denmark miss out on the World Cup this time around. If you remember, Denmark have been doing well recently in international competitions, right? But apart from that, you have the big teams, Germany, who've been on a winning spree. They've been doing really well. They beat Switzerland and Ghana. Florian Wirtz being one of their star players, giving those assists. If not for Liverpool, at least for Germany, is coming good. England have
Mhm.
been trying to experiment with their international team with squad rotation and stuff. 8 wins so far, 0 goals conceded. They've been doing really well. Not sure how far they'll be able to go into the competition this time around. Let's see. I'm expecting quarterfinals at least. Let's look at how Thomas Tuchel manages this team and takes them through. France. What do I say about France? Clear favorites for this World Cup too. Look at their attacking lineup, Sanjay. Guys from PSG, you have Desiree Doué, you have Bradley Barcola, you have Ousmane Dembele, you have Kylian Mbappe from Real Madrid, you have Hugo Ekitike from Liverpool, you have Thuram from Inter Milan. You have lots of players who are in the attack. I forgot Ryan Shirky from Man City. He's another great
Mhm.
attack player. And I was looking at this list of their attack, and it made my head to spin. I mean, there's two things. One, how will they form the best attacking lineup? The second thing is that they've got so many players, they'd have to choose the best lineup, first of all. And the second thing is, if they choose like the first three and they fail, they can bring on substitutes who are even more better or on par with the existing starting lineup. So that's one advantage they have, but at the same time, the manager might have a headache. But yeah, enough about France. But France, clear favorites again to win the World Cup. Spain have also been consistent in the last 2, 3 World Cups at least, and they've got a good team. You've got young Yamin Lamal playing for them.
Yeah.
showing up in big matches. You saw that in the last Euro where he outshone all the youngsters. They've got a deep roster of young talent, definitely. So looking forward to them. What's next after the international break is definitely these teams, these players looking forward to their clubs for the final stretch of the domestic season and the Champions League quarterfinals. So this international break was the final chance for most of the national team managers to look at their players in action and judge them before naming their preliminary squads for the World Cup final. That's happening in June. Very excited. Let's see. Like I told you, I don't get excited about international breaks because it's usually these boring games, which, looks more like a friendly match rather than an international match. But this one I am pretty excited about, and I'm looking forward
Hmm.
to this World Cup, especially trying to look at all the young players coming through the ranks. I'm pretty sure a lot of these players from the national teams will get spotted and they'll be picked for the clubs over the summer. So definitely looking forward to the international break. Enough with the international break, Sanjay. We have
One
to talk.
question.
Yeah,
One
tell me.
question. Sorry. Great insights in terms of what's happening with the international break.
Hmm.
I wanted to understand what this does to a club like Manchester United, the
Yeah.
international break, especially when you're running on momentum.
Hmm.
We've been talking about how United have been a different team post
Yeah.
Carrick, and
Mhm.
they've had a good run of games where they've been winning, they've been drawing, at least not losing games.
Hmm.
And suddenly this international break comes where for about 3 weeks we don't have any other games. And
Yeah.
some of the United players represent their countries, their national teams,
Hmm.
but and some don't. So what does this do to a team like Manchester United? What can we expect when they are back from the break on the 14th of April? Would we be expecting a refreshed team because half the team would be training without the other half? How
Yeah.
is this? How does this all being managed?
Well, it's both an advantage and a disadvantage. When I say advantage, you definitely have 3 weeks of break for the players to try and relax. Players who are not with the national teams could, set out on a recovery session, on a recovery trip. Of course, with the current situation in the Middle East, I don't think so many players would be traveling because they usually travel to countries where there's good weather, like Dubai or somewhere in the Middle East to try and recoup. But I don't think so that's
Right.
happening this time around. But yeah, it gives them a good time to relax, to recuperate and come back healthy and strong after the international break. But there's one risk that you have with players going off on national duty is that the clubs fear that their players would get injured, and that would definitely affect the rest of the season. Of course, we only have about 8 games to go, but you always need these important players. Imagine if a Bruno Fernandes, touch wood, he does not get injured, but imagine if a Bruno Fernandes off the starting lineup for United. There's no creative playmaking at all without him. So that's one fear that we have right now, especially with our squad lacking the depth bench. You have Bruno Fernandes. You just know that he's irreplaceable. You have a Harry Maguire who's backing us up in defense right now because Dillict is injured. You have Lenny Yoro who's back in, but he's been on and off. Aiden Heaven has been off. Of course, Aiden Heaven is not on international duty, but you have Yoro, you have Lisandro Martinez, and the defense has been performing well. You don't want an upset there. Similarly, you have other players too. You have Diogo Dalot, who's part of the Portugal squad. You have Luke Shaw in England, and you have the other players too. So you want a healthy squad. You want these guys coming back fully fit from the international break. Of course, FIFA will end up paying us if any of the players get injured as a compensation for the injuries, which is a weird concept. I think it should be the national bodies of the respective countries paying the clubs as compensation. Like I said earlier, the advantage is that we have a lot of time to try and regroup and get the players to rest. At the same time, you have these few players who are on national duty, but you fear that they might get injured. So that's the biggest fear everyone has, including the clubs. So yeah, that's my take on the international break and the players, especially from United, with us lacking the squad depth. Sanjay.
Like you mentioned, UEFA can pay the teams for any injured players, but at this stage of the Premier League, I don't think that's going to help in any way. You need
Yeah, yeah,
your
definitely.
best players to finish off in style.
Yo, definitely, definitely. And we
Mhm.
need all our best players back in the starting lineup. I know we don't have many, but at least the few we've got, we want them in the starting lineup for the rest of the games and
Right.
help us through and secure the top four finish. Talking about the games that just concluded, Aston Villa and Bournemouth. Sanjay, Aston Villa, of course, we were very happy that we came out 3-1 winners. Not so great with Bournemouth. We ended up drawing 2-2. We were expecting a win. Unfortunately, some of the decisions made by the referees did not go our way. There's lots of chaos that happened. Aston Villa, it wasn't the same. It was a great victory. Although we've not been losing many, I think these draws are trying to hamper our progress as far as the top four finish is concerned. Remember, we discussed in the last episode, we cannot afford a loss anymore. It can only be a maximum of two draws, and the rest has to be wins. I think we've already conceded one draw now. How do we go from here? Is the next question. But yeah, so just walk us through the game for Aston Villa and Bournemouth, Sunday. What are your thoughts on that?
Sure. So contrasting results and the contrasting performances, I would say. One is
Mm,
a convincing 3-1 victory at home. And then the next week you go away to Bournemouth and then you're able to manage only a single point from there. Let's start with the Aston Villa game. This was a fight for the top four because
mm,
Aston Villa is also fourth on the table. And with this win, United were able to consolidate the third place. So we started off the game well. It was a dominating first half from United. We had lots of opportunities to open the scoring, but we were not able to do that. A couple of chances that I want to speak about. One was an early cross from Matthias Cunha. Ahmad was not able to get his head to it. Otherwise, we would have had an early opening goal. Another was an opportunity from a Bruno corner where Maguire heads it to Ahmad. Ahmad heads it to the bottom right corner, which forces a good save from Martinez. And then to top it all, we had Dallo. He had no defenders around him. He controlled the ball, but ended up with his customary shot into the second tier. I don't know how many games he's done that in the last few seasons, but he just
yeah.
has a reputation of doing that. And I just can't imagine how many goals we would have scored if he just ended up putting it at the back of the net. Second half is where all four goals happened. So in the
Mm,
53rd minute, we get a corner, steps up, Captain Fantastic, Bruno Fernandes. He finds Casemiro. Casemiro scores his seventh goal of the season. He kind of makes the run across, leaps in between two defenders, and flicks it to the far corner out of Martinez's reach. If you look at the replay, the angle was very, very tight,
mm,
and the flick from Casemiro had to be very acute. But he managed to do that, and that's how we opened the scoring. But it didn't take much time for Aston Villa to respond. In the 64th minute, Ross Barkley makes it. But what's interesting is the lead up to the goal. So Aston Villa get a corner. From there, there's a potential handball that was not given by the referee. So Tyrone Mings kind of catches the ball, but somehow the referee, I'm not sure if he wasn't in a position to see what was happening.
mm,
And this is again one of those situations where I think VAR should intervene. Whether the referee asks for it or not, the VAR should be able to let him know that something like this has happened and then
mm.
probably leave it to the referee to take a call on what happens. United were appealing, and in the drama that ensued, Ross Barkley goes ahead and scores. I know we have a separate topic about VAR decisions, and there are more surprising decisions that came in the game against Bournemouth, so I'll leave that to you to discuss. But that's how Aston Villa made it 1-1. In the 71st minute, we were able to regain the lead. This was again all about Bruno. At this stage of the game, the pace was very, very slow. When this play started, the defenders were jogging back. United players were just keeping up pace with them.
Mm,
Casemiro passes it to Bruno. Bruno sees that Cunha is making a run
mm.
and he switches the pace of the game. He puts in a pass that no one expects.
Oh yeah.
Cunha receives it and puts it past Martinez, right? It's all about Bruno, and I spent a lot of time talking about his brilliance. This is just another testament to it, right? No one else could have done that. And even the pass, it was very, very lethargic, if I could say. Like, it wasn't
Mm,
like he was passing it, it was an assist. He was just putting it
yeah.
across. Uh, so that made it 2-1. And 10 minutes later, in the 81st minute, we secured all 3 points. Again, great play from Matheus Cunha. He's a master at holding up play, at controlling the ball. He gets the ball, he goes into the box, puts across a pass to Sheshko. Unfortunately, Sheshko doesn't get it. But what happens is Sheshko was smart enough to jump over a defender who had fallen down,
Mm.
gets control of the ball, and shoots on the turn. It takes a small deflection, but again, it is all about the effort that Sheshko was able to put in.
Yeah.
So that made it 3-1. Uh, Convincing win, 3 points. Great. Next week, we go to Bournemouth on the road. In first half, we had a lot of chances. We were not able to convert any. All four goals of this game came in the second half. Starts off in the 60th minute. Cunha gets a lovely touch, gets it under control, gets the ball under control, goes into the box, but he gets pulled down by Alex Jimenez. Alex Jimenez literally kind of pulls the t-shirt off Matthias Cunha. A no-brainer for the referee. He gives a yellow card to Jimenez and points to the penalty. Bruno steps up and makes it 1-0 for us. In the 60th minute, uh, Ahmad gets pulled inside the Bournemouth box. It was not given uh, a clear penalty, according to me, but I will let you decide. Talk about that in the VAR segment. Ahmad should have gotten a penalty there, else he would have scored or could have scored. But then in the build-up, Bournemouth at the other end up scoring the goal. So that makes it 1-1. Again, similar to what happened in the game against Villa, we were denied a goal scoring opportunity, and then the opponent scores the goal. In the first minute, we regain the lead. It's from a Bruno corner. It's a James Hill own goal. So a header that he was trying to clear the ball, but unfortunately heads it back into his own net. Post that, Alex Scott almost wins it for Bournemouth. A lovely long shot. It hits the crossbar and comes down and hits Senna Lomans and goes out for a corner. Could have gone into the net easily, but it didn't. In the first minute, Evan Nilsson steps past Maguire. Maguire should have probably let him go because Evan Nilsson still has a lot to do in terms of finishing to score. But Maguire puts his hand out. It's a very light contact, I would say. But given the situation, he was the last defender. Evan Nilsson could have scored. A red card is given to Maguire. Maguire is sent off, and a penalty is given to Bournemouth. Creepy Jr. steps up and scores and makes it 2-2. So again, a lot to talk about in terms of the refereeing decisions. Michael Carrick in the post-match conference, when he was asked about this, said that for him it is two penalties. And he said the referee got one of it wrong, which means if he had given a penalty for Matheus Cunha, then it should be a penalty for Ahmad as well. I'm also not sure which one of those decisions was wrong. We managed only a point. We have been blowing hot and cold in terms of our home and away performances. At home, we've been dominant. We've been getting those big 3 points. Away, we've not been doing great. Lost, we've drawn. I would say overall, still a good run of games when compared to what it was prior to Carrick. I hope these refereeing decisions do not bite us when we get into the final leg of the Premier League season. Over to you in terms of the VR decisions. What did you think?
Okay, refereeing decisions, not just for United, Sanjay, overall needs to be looked at. There's a lot of refining that needs to be done. There are certain decisions that are made when you think it's a penalty and they say it's not, and vice versa, right? You have the on-field referee making a decision, and then you have VAR overriding it, suggesting that the referee looks at the VAR screen, or they provide some input to the referee asking him to change the decision or look at the incident that happened. So there's a lot of controversy this season, specifically, not just for United, for other teams too, where you have contradicting decisions being made. And there's one that we need to look at, especially in the Bournemouth game at the Vitality Stadium, has definitely sparked a significant debate, with United even preparing a formal complaint to the PGMOL, the refereeing body in the Premier League. Just a quick timeline of the controversies that happened. Like you mentioned, 61st minute, you have Matheus Cunha, who's fouled by Alex Jimenez, where there's a tug on Cunha's shirt within the penalty box, and he goes down immediately. Was a soft one, but yeah, fair enough. He had to go down because he's being pulled by the player. Penalty awarded, we go 1-0 up. And then you have 67th minute, immediately after that, you've got Ahmad Diallo being pulled by Trafford. It wasn't just a tug of the shirt, it was a pull, right? And this was concluded as no penalty. And this is where I was bewildered. So play continues, and then
In fact, I think the defender had both his hands on Ahmad.
yeah, exactly. It was almost like he wrapped
Mhm.
his arms around Amad Diallo, and then there was a bit of a pull, and then Amad Diallo goes down, but that's not a penalty, which was surprising. And the immediate reaction after that is that Bournemouth score in the 68th minute with a Ryan Christie goal. That kind of turned things around. I want to go back to this Amad Diallo foul again. So if Matthias Cunha was inside the penalty box, his shirt was being tugged from behind. And if you look at the way he fell down, it wasn't natural. It was a bit artificial. It was like he wanted that incident to happen. But because the shirt pull happened, it was awarded as a penalty. Whereas Amad Diallo, you have someone putting his arms around the player and impeding the play, and the player goes down, and that's not a penalty. So that's another controversial decision, and I would definitely compare that with the Maguire penalty and red card as well, which was even more surprising. 70th minute, you have Evan Nilsson, who is almost through on goal, and then Maguire puts out one arm to try and stop him from going further, and he takes his arm out immediately. Evan Nilsson goes down, and it's a penalty immediately and a red card. So that was actually surprising. You have one guy with two arms trying to stop a player. That's not a penalty. And you have Maguire with just one arm trying to stop a player from going through on goal. And that's a penalty and a red card. So that's something we need to look into. And rightly so, United have appealed to the PGMOL trying to see why this was going against us. So, the primary grievance that the United camp had and still have is not the individual calls that went wrong. It's the threshold for a foul that changed through the course of the 90 minutes. Like I spoke about Cunha's foul being given as a penalty, Ahmad's foul not a penalty, and then you have the Harry Maguire challenge being provided as a penalty. So these are all identical challenges that we had in the game. So United argued that the foul on Diallo in the 67th minute was functionally identical to the one that was awarded to Cunha, like I said earlier. In both cases, a defender was caught out of position and used hands to impede the attacker. So that's the core of the decision. Because Ahmad's penalty was denied, I mentioned already that Bournemouth immediately did a counter attack and scored through Ryan Christie. That kind of shifted the momentum slightly. And if Ahmad's penalty was given and the decision being reversed, where it
Right.
wasn't a penalty, then it would have turned the game on its head. I wouldn't argue too much on Maguire's decision because it looked like he was almost through on goal. Maybe people can argue stating that he was trying to prevent him from scoring and he was the last man in the defense, which is fair enough. But I would just go back to the Ahmad decision and say that should have been a penalty for sure. Let's see what PGMOL's response would
Mhm.
be to the appeal. But I think the post match reactions from Carrick and even Bruno summed it up. These were the exact words from Michael Carrick. He says he's definitely got one of them wrong, which you mentioned earlier. One penalty being given and one not. It's a two-arm grab. So surprising that wasn't given for Ahmad. The Bournemouth manager, of course, had a different opinion. He thought it was the right decision, but yeah, you always have the winning the manager who's not in the
Yeah.
disadvantaged top this. Bruno also mentioned the same thing. It's difficult for the referee to give two penalties to the same team in one game, but I don't see why a VAR does not get involved. Yeah, you'll have to
Mm.
note this. If the
Correct.
on-field umpire has given a penalty as a decision, you have to have VAR intervene in such cases. You have had that happen in the past. You, I mean,
Correct.
VAR immediately speaks to the referee. Either they tell him, "We've seen it on the monitor; it's a penalty or it's a foul. We see something that's happened," or they would even advise the referee to
On-field
walk
review.
screen
Yeah.
screen to look at stuff. So nothing of that sort happened. I think that should have been the case. And if that was the case, I'm pretty sure it would have been a penalty. The referee would have changed his decision. So to conclude this match served as a textbook example of subjective thresholding. Both the referees and the VAR operated under the clear and obvious mandate, which kind of
Mm.
protects the field officials' decision and their instinct. So that's why I said, VAR should have advised the referee to go to the screen or have a look at it again. Yeah. So again, a disappointing day for us, a disappointing outing at Bournemouth. But yeah, these things
Mm.
happen that we have to look at. And the governing body for the referees, plus the FA needs to look at all these refereeing decisions. We have to bring in a lot more tighter rules within VAR and ensure that it's the same across the board and it's not inconsistent, for penalties. I've seen inconsistency for penalties from one game to another, but this is within
Hmm.
the same, and that's what was
Right.
very, very disappointing, right, Sanjay? Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I agree with you. I know, like you rightly mentioned, we've seen inconsistencies between matches,
Mm.
but seeing that in the same game was very, very surprising. And decisions like these, though they are very few and far apart, change the course of the game. Sometimes these 2 points is what decides whether a team goes on to win a championship,
Mm.
kind of
Mm.
stays in the top four for Champions League, or they get relegated. So at the outset, it might look like a very one off game, but it has its own impact and repercussions in terms of what will happen with those points. I hope the association kind of looks into it, kind of comes up with a better VAR intervention in the coming
Mm.
season. Right. We've spoken a lot in terms of controversies, inconsistencies, but let's get to a very, very interesting segment. I'm personally excited about this because I've seen a lot of videos done by a lot of people over the years. I've given my verdict
Yeah.
as I watched those videos whether a player should be kept or sold, but
Mm.
we've got our own keep or sell segment over here. Are you ready for it?
Definitely. This is something that I've been looking forward to, Sanjay.
The only thing I would say is, along with your decision, you will have to give a line or two as to why you want to do that, substantiate the decision. And wherever are required, I think I will jump in and put in my thoughts as well.
Sure.
Okay, starting off, I think this is a no brainer, but we still have to do it. Bruno Fernandes.
No comments here. Keep. Of course, for a lot of reasons, the captain of the team, he's been leading from the front. This has been a phenomenal season for him. I know he's going past his prime and he's entered his 30s, but definitely at this point in time, we don't have any other creative player than Bruno Fernandes, and we need him firing on all cylinders. Definitely keep. Uh, and we should back him up by buying another creative player. And I'm pretty sure he will not be able to play as many games like he used to do in the last 4 5 seasons. I'm pretty sure this
Mhm.
will, of course, even this season he's been starting for almost every game for us, but next season you have to give him some rest, and you have to bring in another player who can back him up. But finding that player is
Right.
very, very tough. Let's see how that pans out.
Hmm.
But yeah, definitely keep.
Agree. Next up is Benjamin Sheshko.
Well, Benjamin Sheshko, definitely keep. We discussed this several times in our previous episodes, Sanjay. So we've been crying out loud for an out and out striker. We have one in Sheshko. We had one in Hoyland as well, but something didn't work out. We've loaned him out. He's been doing okay with Napoli. If he comes back, we can definitely have him as backup. But Sheshko, we have to keep. Although he's coming in on as a super sub to score goals for us, I think in the next season we should have him as a starter. We should have
Mm.
a good front three with Ahmad on the right and a different left winger if we are going to buy one. I'm pretty sure we are in the market for a left winger as well. And then you have squad players like Mbomo and Cunha
Mhm.
coming in who can rotate in the front three, who can come on as subs. But yeah, as far as the striker is concerned, we have to fix one person up top and ensure that we have him as a target man. So Sheshko fits the bill definitely, and I'm pretty sure he will succeed. He's already had success. He's got the right setup right now. It's just that, and one problem we've had in the past is that we need people who can provide for strikers. We can have the
Right.
best of strikers, unless there is an R9 who can do everything on his own, drive the ball from midfield and score. I think the other strikers need assists from creative players. If that's not happening, if the creative outlet is not there, then that's a problem. But yeah, definitely keep Sheshko.
Okay. Brian Mbumo.
Oh, another squad player, Mbomo, one of the best buys of this season. The Cameroonian has been brilliant. He's done brilliantly well for Brentford. Premier League proven. He's come to United and also hit the ground running. Keep him. Definitely a squad player. We can continue to rotate with the other players up top in the front three. Definitely a starter, and we should keep him. He's at his prime right now, I should say.
Agreed. Matthias Cunha.
Matthias Cunha, again, another squad player, came on as a sub in a few games, and he scored some goals, made some assists as well. Of course, we had to pay a high price for Mbomo and Cunha, but both being Premier League proven players, Cunha coming in from Wolves. I
Hmm.
think he's proving to be a very good squad player. He definitely contributes to goals and assists, like I mentioned earlier. Definitely keep him. But the argument would be: should we start him or should we not? What is your
Mm.
take on
We
that?
should definitely start him,
Mm, 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 mm.
right? He's got a good control of the ball, and what he also brings in is that additional pace. He's pretty dominant in terms of pace as well. He
Mm,
definitely has to start. And what these three signings that we've spoken about, Benjamin Sheshko, Mbumo, and Cunha, have done is they've shifted the focus away from the front line for United. Because
mm.
over the years, we've spoken about how we've not been able to finish in the final third. We've not been great in finishing or scoring goals. If you look at our conversations, we've started talking about how the midfield is not great and how we are not able to provide to these players. So
Yeah,
these three have been amazing signings. And given how much we used to splurge on players who were not able to live up to the expectations, this has
yeah,
been a great season where we've brought in great players for a good amount of money. Okay, next up we have Casemiro, but I think that's decided already that he's
yeah.
leaving at the end of the season. But one hypothetical question: if he decides to continue, should we
Hmm.
give him another season?
If he decides to continue,
Yeah.
we should give him another season. But I think he's already decided, Sanjay, that he's leaving. He's announced it
Yeah.
officially, so I don't think so that's happening. United also will be looking at the wage bill. That's the first thing that we're looking at, because he's the highest on the list. He's got £375,000 per week being paid. Oh,
Okay.
with the current situation, Ineos looking at finances with a magnifying glass. I think we need Casemiro to leave, and we also need to bring in a good defensive midfielder as well. That's something that we need to look forward to. But yeah, Casemiro is going anyway. So that's answered your question pretty much.
Okay. The next player, I know what you're going to say, so I don't even want to ask.
Yeah.
But just for the record, Senna Lomans.
Senna Lomans, yeah, the signing of the season by far. We got him for what, £18 million from Anderlecht. He's been
Mhm.
brilliant. He's also starting for Belgium right now with Thibaut Courtois being injured. And he's doing really well. No doubt about his abilities. He's brought that calm in goal. His demeanor is completely different to that of Andre Onana. He's
Mhm.
coordinating well with the defenders. He's young, 23 years old. He's got a lot of time ahead of him to try and improve. I'm pretty sure he's going to be there for the long run with United. Definitely keep.
Okay. Amad Diallo.
A no-brainer again. Keep. One of the standout performers, the only guy who can dribble at defenders and confuse them at this point in time. I know he's not been on the scoring side, but he adds a lot of value on the right side. He
Mhm.
creates a lot of problems for defenders, for the left back of the opposition, and also the midfield as well. He goes around the defenders. He cuts in to make those shots with his left foot. Brilliant player. Definitely keep one for the future.
Okay. Kobe Mainu, I think, again, a no brainer because he's just signed a 5-year contract. But what do you think?
See, if you asked me before Carrick came in, with the tantrums his camp was throwing, if you had asked me at that point in time, I would have said sell Kobe Menu, because his agent was not agreeing to a contract negotiation because he was not getting playtime. His brother showed up at games wearing a
Mm.
t-shirt, free Kobe Menu and all that crap. I think at that point in time, I was like, enough is enough. But I think he should put all that to rest, let his people know that he should do the talking on the pitch and not some brother wearing a t-shirt, letting people know that, Kobe Menu needs playing time. Definitely keep. He's a young talent. Remember, again, he's just 20 years old, and he's got a long way ahead. He played for England in the Euros when he was only
Mhm.
18, and he's going to play World Cup this year in 2026. He's got great talent. He has to be utilized properly. The one downside that I see sometimes, he gets physically outmuscled at times in midfield. But he's got the tactics, the positional sense to try and wriggle out of such situations. There's a lot to work on the technical side for Menu, but definitely keep one of our own.
Okay. Next up is, I would say, a surprise improvement of the season,
Mm.
Patrick Dogu.
Patrick Dogu keep for now. When he's
Mhm.
back from injury, look at his performances. Of course, when he's playing up front, which was a surprise by Carrick, putting him on the left wing rather than his defensive position. His game changed completely and he started to contribute well. For now, I would say keep, but I would look at his performances next season to see how consistent he is. Will he be able to cement that left wing role when he comes back if he's given a chance, or will he be a squad player is the next question, but keep for
Hmm.
now.
Okay.
Mm.
Harry Maguire.
Harry Maguire. Imagine the same conversation, Sanjay, a couple of seasons ago. The amount of flack, the amount of criticism, all the abuse that he's had at games, at his house, at public places, the amount of ridicule this guy has had to go through, being stripped of the captain's armband, putting his head down, not saying a word, coming back so strong. Hats off to this guy, to be honest. Anyone else would have crumbled under pressure. You either crumble under pressure or turn out to be a diamond, right? I think this guy
Right.
of course, has not become a diamond, but he's managed to come out of all these controversies, all these bad performances, criticisms, a lot of things, and cemented his place in the squad. Definitely keep him. I know contract talks are currently on. I'm pretty sure he'll agree to stay at United, maybe another year being extended to his contract. But we want him. He's an England international. We have very few England players in the squad. You have Shaw, you have Maguire, Menu, Mason Mount,
Hmm.
etc. But we need a mix of English players as well. And Harry Maguire is definitely a good defender. You have the right combination for him in the back four, and I'm pretty sure he'll be a good squad player. Of course, he's slow with the ball. He can't run. He does not have pace, but he's good at his basic defensive duties. He's broken the shackles, all that was holding him back previously. I'm not sure what, but he's come out and proven a lot of his critics wrong. So he definitely
Hmm.
deserves a place in the squad, at least for the amount of criticism that he's had. So yeah, keep Harry Maguire
And Maguire, I think, is probably one of the turnarounds, I would say, in a
of the
decade.
of
Yeah,
the
of the
century.
century might be too much, but I can't remember any other player who has done this at
Oh yeah.
United, let alone any other team, right? Because
Mm,
we've seen cases where if you have a fallout with the manager or a fallout with the the spectators or within the team, the
mm,
player eventually moves on to a different club. And in some cases, they do better at other clubs, but that's a different story. But here, uh, I would have said sell him a couple of seasons ago,
yeah.
but through the turmoil, through the lows of United, he's been there.
Mm,
He's pulled his socks up and he's made a fantastic turnaround. I know probably what we call a leadership lesson, a lesson for life that
mm,
someone can read about and understand what to do when things are not going your way, when the
mm,
chips are down, what needs to be done. Like you rightly said, he didn't go public. He didn't go out
yeah.
and talk anything bad about the club, talk anything bad about his fellow players. You didn't even know that he kind of existed. You just saw him on a Saturday and then or Sunday, and then you saw him again
Yeah.
when the next game happened. And slowly, what he was doing behind the scenes was that he was building on himself. He was working on his weaknesses, and then suddenly, what you see is that he's the rock of our defense. Brilliant, brilliant story that someday I hope someone will talk about in detail,
Yeah.
and youngsters reading about him will kind of understand what he's had to do.
Definitely.
Okay, next is Shea Lacey.
Shea Lacey, an up and coming player from the academy, he's been given chances this season. Has got a good left foot. He's definitely contributed. He can play up front, in the front three as well as in midfield. I would
Mhm.
say send him on loan to a club where he gains a good amount of experience, either within the Premier League. I wouldn't say Premier League, but send him to the Championship. Let him gain a good amount of experience and come back. Definitely would be a starter, if not the upcoming season, maybe one for the seasons after that for the future. But definitely keep. And it's
Mhm.
hard to see academy graduates come into the first team and shine. You have Kobe Menu who's doing that right now, but we've not had a player like a Mason Greenwood in a long, long time. We need someone like that. Of course, he does not have the flexibility and the two-footed game like a Greenwood or his scoring abilities and so on and so forth. We've not seen much of this guy, but let's see. We have to send him out on loan, develop such players and keep them. So yeah, keep Shea Lacey.
Okay, Lisandro Martinez.
Again, a no-brainer, Sanjay. The butcher, you have to keep him. Yeah, although being ridiculed for his height of 5'8" or 5'9", and him not being suitable for the Premier League, he's proven everybody wrong. He's cemented his place in the squad. Of course, the one-off injury happens with most players, but that's something that we need to talk about as well, right? United as a club need to work on the people in the back room, especially the backroom staff who take care of the physios, the doctors, the fitness coaches, etc., to look at how they assess players' injuries and how they try and get them to recoup as quick as possible, ensure that they're given the rest, ensure that they give them the conditioning. All of that in that department needs to be looked at. But yeah, coming back to Lisandro Martinez, definitely keep. He's been pairing up with Maguire in the defense for us in the last few matches. Of course, we've had Matthias Dillict and Lenny Oro on and off. Dillict hasn't come back and will not come back for quite some time. But definitely keep Lisandro Martinez. He can also play in midfield. You can put him as a central defender. He's got the ball playing ability too. So yeah, definitely keep.
Okay. Mason Mount.
Okay, the first player that I'm going to say sell. He's a good player, but unfortunately, he's had too many injuries. That's the reason Chelsea wanted to sell him.
Hmm.
We got him in at a very high price. We gave him the number 7 shirt as well. I think everyone's forgotten about that now. Mason Mount comes in as a substitute in some games, and he creates that impact. And then the next game he's injured. I don't want to see that happening. And he's definitely on high wages as well. I'm pretty sure you have a different opinion, or let me know if it's the same. But I want to see Mason Mount being sold, even if it's for a lesser price. I don't care.
No, I agree with you. I don't think he's lived up to the expectations that he came in with when we bought
Mm.
him. Again, due to injuries, he's not featured in, I would say, 5 games in a row. I
Mm.
don't remember him doing that. And the other thing United should do is probably retire the number 7 shirt. Post CR7, I don't think anyone, we've had some great players who've donned the number
Yeah.
7 shirt, but they've not gone on to become legends. They've not even gone on to become good players, I would say. So just to retire the shirt, it's okay. I don't know why players keep fighting for the number 7 shirt. It should just be the United badge that they play for. But yeah, Mason Mount, I think, should be sold. Every time he's shown flashes of his brilliance, but then an injury pops up and then he's out for a few games. What that
Mm.
does is it makes the midfield very, very inconsistent. So
Mhm.
you got a good formation, you get a good game, and then he's not there for the next few. You have to play someone else. So yeah, go ahead and sell him. It's fine. We'll invest that amount in probably 2 youngsters who can come up the ranks.
I don't think so. We'd get that amount of money, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be a huge loss when we sell him for the price that we paid to buy him from Chelsea. But yeah, we'll have to do away with all these fringe players who are out
Yeah,
injured all the time, and we cannot do much about them.
we'll at least save on the weekly wages.
Yeah, it's a shame to see such things happening, but unfortunately, we've been making all the wrong decisions, at least in the last 12, 13 years for the club. We, as in the board. So yeah.
Okay. Next one is a definite sell for me. Andre Onana.
Yeah. I agree with you on that. Hands down, sell him, not the keeper that we wanted. I think we kind of got carried away with the other teams having a sweeper keeper. I think it started off with people looking at Manuel Neuer, right? He's a different
Right.
beast altogether. You cannot replicate him. He's a sweeper keeper. He can play out from the back. He can come out into midfield and even have a 1-2 with midfielders, go ahead, cross into the opposition's box towards the end of games to try and score a goal, a sprint back in, defend, all that he does, right? He's his complete
Hmm.
package and kind of changed goalkeeping altogether in the modern era. But I think slowly people started to try and see how they can bring in such a keeper. Plus, after Pep Guardiola brought in this tiki taka style of play, of course, it's not the same with City that he's deploying right now, but he always plays out from the back. It's not the
Hmm.
long that go in into the midfield from the keeper, right? So, if you want the keeper to play out from the back, you need someone who is good on the ball. And for United, Onana was seen as that guy who would fill that position. When we played under Ten Hag, that's what we wanted because Ten Hag's style of play was very, very similar to it. You had the play being built up from the defense, from the goalkeeper into defense into midfield and to the forward lines. So that's how it was. And we saw Andre Onana as the perfect fit for that setup. Unfortunately, he failed miserably for us, too many errors, too many bad decisions, bad positioning. He was not able to walk the talk. That's one thing.
Mm.
And I'm pretty sure he would do well for another team. I don't see that happening right now with the Turkish team that he's playing for. But I think when he's back from his loan, we have to sell him. I'm pretty sure again we're not going to make a profit here. It's going to be at a loss, but definitely sell. Agreed.
Okay. Matthias Dillict.
Matthias Dillict keep. If not for his injuries, he would have been a brilliant player for us,
Mm.
Sanjay. But I'm only worried about the injuries. If he is consistent without injuries, he's a rock in defense. He flies in for those tackles. He's shoring up in the back line, and he coordinates well with his partner in the back four. Brilliant player. I've been watching Delict from his Ajax days.
Mm.
You remember Dillict played against Manchester United in the 2016-17 Europa League final. I think he must have been 17 at that point in time. It was a very, very
Wow.
young Ajax team. You had Frankie de Jong, you had Andre Onana in that game, who was a goalkeeper.
Okay.
You had Matthias Dillict. I think even Mazraoui was there in Ajax at that point in time. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
I've been watching him from then. I've been following his journey from Ajax to Juventus to Bayern to United. One player that I've admired a lot. I know I haven't mentioned this previously, but I've been watching his progress. I wished actually, at that point in time when there was this transfer speculation happening, I wanted United to get him. There was speculation about
Mm-hmm.
United getting him, but we lost to Juventus, and then he moved on to Bayern. His value increased. And then Bayern, of course, decided to sell him because of the injuries. And that's the reason they decided to let go of such a good defender. Otherwise, they wouldn't. But on his day, if he's fit, he's brilliant. But keep him for now.
Okay. Aiden Heaven.
Definitely keep a
Okay.
good up and coming defender for England and for United. He's good whenever he's come on, when he's brought in as a substitute. He's been good for us. He does not panic in defense, partners well with his central defender partner, and has done really well for United so far. Needs a bit of a coaching. I'm pretty sure that will come because he's young right now. He needs a lot of guidance. He needs coaching. He needs input from senior members within the squad, but definitely keep Sanjay. We stole him from Arsenal, remember? We have to keep him.
Yeah. Okay. Jack Fletcher.
Jack Fletcher, Darren Fletcher's son, there's another guy as well. Loan him out to a championship club, let him gain experience
Mm.
and come back into the squad, and then we can look at promoting him again to the first team and keeping him as a squad player. So, loan.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Joshua Zirkzee.
Joshua Zirkzee, I have a bit of a dilemma here. I think we should sell him. Again, a lot of these players who we've bought at outrageous prices, we're not going to get that in return for sure. And Joshua Zirkzee is definitely one of them. I would say keep him for one more season and then sell. I'm not sure if his value is plummeted, but at times when he comes on in as a substitute, his hold up play has been good, but assists wise, I've not seen much from him. But I think we can probably use him as a substitute. But keep for now, sell later in the winter or maybe the following season. But do
Should
you
we
have?
loan him out?
Yeah, that definitely is an option. I think we had that option of loaning him out at the beginning of this season, but I think that
Mm-hmm.
was stopped by
Okay.
Amarim, and he's been in the squad since then. We can also look at a loan. That's definitely an option. What do you think?
Okay. I think we should loan him out because
Hmm.
the game time that he's got this season is very, very limited. Let him at least go play somewhere. We can use the money that's coming in, and he would also feel better. It also has
Yeah.
to do with managing the players' confidence. The more time he spends on the bench, it's
Hmm.
not going to
Hmm.
be great for him. Just reminds me of Van de Beek, right? Who came in with a lot of expectations, a lot of promise, but then he ended up spending a lot of time on the bench, and then finally we
Oh yeah.
had to let him go. I don't want this to be a case of that. At least he should get some game time somewhere else, because if you take a step back and look at the players, they have very limited playing time overall in terms of number of years. I'm saying max they can do probably is say 35, 36 if they are very fit. The moment they hit 30s, then they are past their prime. So shouldn't be a case where he's not getting game time. We should probably loan him out and see how he does.
Mhm, mhm, mhm.
Probably that would also help him. We don't know. He might learn a few things. He might become a better striker, and then we can use him the following season.
Yeah. And these players, like you said, Sanjay, need game time because they also want a feature for their international teams too. Remember, Netherlands, he's one of the squad members, and he needs game time. If he has to be considered for the national team, then he needs to be either loaned out or sold to another club. But yeah, for now, we could look at maybe in the summer. I think they will look at a loan deal for him. Let's see.
He also brings in the kind of communication the manager or the team has with these players, because if
Mm,
they're not given a clear path in terms of what they're going to do in the coming
mm,
games or the coming
mm, mm,
season, or how
mm,
they're looking at them or what value they add to the team,
mm,
I'm sure all these players would have at the back of their mind saying, what are they doing? They would probably be start looking at other leagues or other teams that they
mm,
want to
mm,
move into. You don't
mm.
want a player playing games with that in mind. You just want them to focus entirely on what's happening in the
Yeah,
present. So,
yeah.
yeah. Okay, moving on. Next player, definite sell for me. Please don't prove me wrong. Diogo Dallo.
Oh, definitely sell. Yeah. So one guy who's been one of the most inconsistent players that I've seen, brought in by Jose Mourinho when he came in the first season or the second season. I think he brought him in, was unknown commodity at that point in time. Was there was a lot of expectation from him. We were told that he could be, like the next big thing in defense as a right back for us, but I don't think so. He's lived up to the expectation. I'm surprised that he's managed to stay in at this club for so many seasons, go unnoticed, not being sold at the end. He was loaned out to Milan in between, where he kind of improved a little bit, but they sent him back to us. I'm pretty sure they saw his potential too, and loaned him out initially, but decided not to keep him at the end. So definitely sell. I haven't been observing his performances for Portugal, but for club so far he's not been doing great. His
Mhm.
finishing is not great. He provides assists once in a while. His crosses, when he delivers those crosses, are definitely good, but that has to be consistent. And
Right.
a lot of defensive mistakes leading to goals for against United have also cost a lot of matches for us. And Diogo Dallo in the heart of those goof ups. So yeah, sell Sanjay. No other comments on him. But we have to get a very good right back before we replace him. That has to be done. Else, that's going to be difficult if we don't find a good replacement. I'm pretty sure we are in the market for one, but let's see. Hmm.
My question is, wouldn't Mazraoui be that person?
Mazraoui can be a squad player where he can come in on as a substitute, and he's very versatile as well. So
Okay.
talking about Mazraoui, I'll talk about him as well. We should definitely keep him, keep
Okay.
Mazraoui being a squad player.
Okay.
But if he the first choice right back, I don't think so. Mazraoui is good in
Okay.
defense. Remember, we spoke about this asymmetric defense formation previously, where Mazraoui stays somewhere between defense and midfield. He does not venture too much forward, whereas the opposite number, like the left back, roams forward, pairs up with the attack. Like, for example, a Luke Shaw, he
Luke Shaw.
overlaps. Mazraoui is the exact opposite. And of course, he's good at his defensive duties, and he did well at Bayern. He's doing well here as well. You can deploy him in defense, in midfield, etc. But he can be a squad player, but I don't think so. He's the first choice right back, Mazraoui. So yeah, we have to get a first choice right back to replace Diogo Dallo. And yeah, I'll jump into Mazraoui next directly. Keep Mazraoui. You can pick it up from
Okay.
there.
Got
Hmm.
it. Next up, we have Lenny Euro.
Lenny Yoro, keep. French international, great defender who's been improving. He definitely needs a lot of guidance. I don't
Very
think so.
young.
That very young. I don't think so. Anyone apart from Maguire can give him some sort of advice. But yeah, I think he needs a good pairing, and he needs a consistent pairing. To be honest, you have to have either a Matthias Dillict or a Maguire with him all the time. He's definitely very, very good making those last ditch tackles one on one with the front three, especially the attackers. He does all of that. He's got pace, he's got composure, he does really well in 1v1 situations. Definitely keep. I'm looking at him as another Rafael Varane for France. France right now already have a lot of defenders. You've got Ibrahima Konate, William Saliba. Upamecano from Bayern. You've got the other defenders. I think Jules Koundé is there, but I think Lenny Yoro definitely will become a France international, a permanent member of the France international squad. And there's a lot of stuff in store for him in the future. Again, needs the right guidance. You need a good coach and someone to guide him through with senior members watching out for him. I think he'll be a good squad player for us.
Okay. Luke Shaw.
Luke Shaw, I know this was going to be controversial, but sell, right? Injury prone. When he comes on, he's good, but too many injuries. But I wouldn't blame Shaw for this. I've been a huge fan of Luke Shaw when we brought him in from Southampton. He was one of the bright sparks. I think Louis Van Gaal was the one who brought him, right, Sanjay?
Yeah.
Yeah, Louis Van Gaal. Yeah, at that point in time, he was playing really well. We had Memphis Depay at that point in time, who he was pairing up with, and he was this defender in top form as a left back. He would do these overlapping runs. He would contribute in attack and defense. All round player, England
Right.
international.
Right.
He did play for the international team a lot of times, but I think he's past his peak. The leg break injury that happened for him in the Champions League against PSV Eindhoven, that kind of changed things completely. That was a horrific injury. I
Yeah.
think to come out of that sort of an injury and regain form and to recover fully and to I'm pretty sure anyone else would have that trauma in their mind. I think he did well by coming back, recovering from that injury, cementing his place in the United squad with the national team as well. But I think there's lots of injuries that has happened, which has kind of hampered his progress. And
Hmm.
I think we should sell him if we get a good price. I think he should go.
Got it. But this also talks about how we've not been able to get good replacements, right? The fact that we've
Mm,
stuck
mm,
on to Shaw during his injury, post his recuperation, has been that we've not been able to find a good left back
mm,
in the
mm,
market. We should probably do better in terms of our scouting, in terms of signing
mm.
players. We did have Alex Telles, right, who played as
Alex
left
Telles,
back for
yeah, yeah.
a few seasons, but he didn't. He wasn't a consistent starter. He wasn't doing great. Both the right back and left back positions, I think we'll have to do much better this season in the summer.
And mind you, for every position that we're talking about, every player that we're talking about, and we say sell, it is given that we should have a backup. We should go into the market for a player, bring in the replacement, and then sell these guys. If not, it's going to be a disaster. If you keep selling
Yeah.
all the players, then you don't have a good squad, then that becomes a bigger headache for us.
We should be saying sell when we have a good replacement, but in our case, we're just saying sell because they're not doing great, and in most of those cases, we don't have a replacement there.
Just one last point. What I'm trying to say was that we're not selling players because bigger clubs want them. We're selling all these players because they're unwanted.
Yeah, that's another question. We want to sell. Who's going to buy them?
Yeah, that's a big question. Yeah.
Do they even want to be bought?
Mm.
Uh, okay. Another sell, according to me, Manuel Ugarte.
I'm with you on that. Selim brought in from Sporting Lisbon by Ruben Amorim. We thought
Mhm.
he'd be a good successor to Casemiro, but I don't see that happening. Somehow was not the right fit. Doesn't put in the shift when required. Not the ideal number six that we wanted. I'm not
Mhm.
going to go much into details. Sell, Sanjay.
Okay. Chido Obi.
Chido will be a bright prospect, another steal from Arsenal. A good striker, needs a lot of coaching, needs a lot of experience outside the Premier League. Loan out to the Championship and bring him back as a first team player in the squad the season following the next.
Okay. Alte Bayindir.
Binder, we would have to keep. We don't have a backup goalkeeper for now. Between Onana and Binder, I would say sell Onana, keep Binder as a backup goalkeeper. I'm pretty sure he will come in handy in those FA Cup games, Carabao Cup, and if required, come in on as a replacement goalkeeper when the number one is injured, which I don't want to see happening. Senna Lomans go, but
Yeah.
yeah, a squad player. Keep.
Okay. The other Fletcher boy, Tyler Fletcher.
The same, loan him out, loan both the Fletchers out, let them gain experience, come back, and
Mhm.
yeah, let's see if they can make their father proud.
Okay. Uh, Chirel Malacia.
Sell, no comment.
No comments on that.
No
No, I
comments.
wouldn't even ask why. Right. Okay. We've covered majority of the players. Just a few more names that I quickly wanted to get your thoughts on. Diego
Mm.
Leon.
Diego Leon, a bright prospect. He's a stocky built player and he's very good. We picked him up from South America. He needs a lot of development. Young, loan him out to a championship team, let him come back and then we can deploy him. But a very, very good defender and brilliant going forward as well. I've seen a lot of his videos while he was being scouted. Even recently, I was looking at his progress. He's doing really well in the under 21s or the under 18 matches that sometimes he plays in. He's doing really well. Keep and we should also look to loan him out.
Okay, another defender, Sekou Konye.
Sekou Kone, a midfielder who was seen as the successor to a Pogba. I mean, I
Mhm.
didn't think so, but he's had this very bad head injury recently, and that kind of has had a setback on his career. He's been out
Okay.
injured time, and they're slowly nursing him into the first team squad. I've seen him play a couple of matches. I think he came in on as a substitute in a match, and he was decent enough. A very good midfield player. He was seen as a bright prospect when we brought him in into the reserves. This guy definitely needs a lot of guidance. Someone will have to guide him through, coach him, slowly bring him in as a slow transition, not immediately into the first team squad. Remember, any player that comes in from the academy or an external player who's young, there's a lot of pressure put on these players. So I don't want that happening. I don't want these guys to be in the limelight. Let them
Mhm.
be in the background, develop. Even if they're in the first team squad, the manager should ensure that there's not much of spotlight on these players. So loan Sekou Kone out.
Got it. Just two more names to round up the segment. Harry Amas.
Harry Amos loan out. He's already gone on loan once, so loan him out
Mhm.
again next season, and then look at his development from there.
Okay. And the final name to be discussed, Toby Collier.
Toby Collier was a promising talent. We used him when Scott McTominay left.
Mhm.
He proved to be a decent midfielder, lacks experience. He needs a lot of experience. Loan him out again.
Great. Thank you for the thoughts, Desmond. This has been our longest episode so far. I know we have one more topic to be discussed, but I'm sure we can discuss that in the following episode, which is potential relegation zone teams. But yeah, this has been a great episode, right? A few new segments that we spoke about. We spoke about
Mm,
international matches. We spoke about players we want to keep and sell. We spoke about
mm, mm.
VAR and refereeing inconsistencies. So a slightly different episode. And if you enjoyed this angle, let us know and drop a review. Tell us what you'd like us to zoom in on next. More transfers, more stats, or a deeper dive into the young players' futures. Until then, keep believing in the red, and we'll see you next time on the Madras United podcast.
Thank you, everyone, and bye for now.